Hi, and welcome to another episode of Eyes Wide Open. We've had a little bit of break in episodes because I've been sick and I figured no one wanted to hear me wheezing and coughing on this podcast. But we're going to pick up with a new episode of Eyes Wide Open. And today we're going to talk about today's Friday, and tonight, Shabbos is Yud Shvat, the 10th of Shvat. And it's a very auspicious day. In 1950, on the 10th of Shvat, the previous Chabad Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Yitzhak Schneerson, passed away. And a year later, in 1951, on the 10th of Shvat and the 11th of Shvat, our Rebbe assumed the role of Rebbe and became the Rebbe. And on that day, on that night, the Rebbe said a statement, a Hasidic discourse called Basi Legani, in which he outlined the mission for our generation. And he spoke about a medrash, how at the beginning of creation, God's existence, God's presence, God's Shekhinah, God's divine presence was manifest in every detail of existence for about 6 days. And then Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, and they made God feel unwelcome because God told them not to. They did it anyway, and they made God feel unwelcome in existence, and God's divine presence was pushed out of existence. And then came along 6 more people, or 6 more groups of people, and they further made God feel unwelcome until at the end he was 7 stages removed. God's divine presence was 7 stages removed from existence. And then the Medrash continues. Came along Abraham, and Abraham started making God feel welcome again, started listening to God, and he brought God's divine presence back a stage. And Isaac brought it back a stage, and Jacob brought it back a stage, until ultimately Moses brought God's divine presence back into this world. And the Rebbe continues that in a similar sense, our mission, a mission of our generation, is to bring God's divine presence into this world in the greatest way possible, the most permanent way possible, to bring Moshiach. That's our mission. That's the mission of our generation. We are at the very end of exile. This is it. This is where exile ends and redemption begins. And this is our mission, to finish that home stretch, to finish that final line, to cross a line, and to bring Mashiach. And the Rebbe continues, how do you do that? So the way Moses did it, the way Moses brought divine presence in the world, was through building a mishkan, through building a tabernacle in the desert. But when it comes to building a tabernacle, the Torah says that you should build me a tabernacle, and I'll dwell in it. This idea that you're going to build God a divine presence, a special home for him, and he'll dwell in the Mishkan. But the Medrash says, it doesn't say in it. It doesn't say, in it would be betocho, that you should make me a Mishkan, v'shachanti betocho, I'll dwell in it. It says besocham, it means in them. And the Medrash says that God is saying, I want to dwell in them, in the heart of every single Jew. That I'm not looking just for a physical Mishkan. I'm looking for a home in the heart of every single Jew. So the Rebbe says, how do we bring Mashiach? By making God at home in our heart, in our lives, in every single detail of our lives, by being passionate about Judaism, being passionate about God, by going a little crazy for God. It says that the way they made a Mishkan is they used karashim. Karashim was cedar wood. It's a Hebrew word, cedar wood. But karashim also comes from the word sheker, which means falsehood. And the idea is you take the falsehood of our animal soul. We take we take all our animalistic passions and all our animalistic follies, and we turn that excitement, that passion, into holy passion, into holy folly, into going crazy for good things. And that's how the Jewish people made a Mishkan. Literally, the Jewish people took the same gold with which, after 40 days having to receive the Torah, they used that gold to make a golden calf and worship it. It's the most crazy thing. And with the same gold, you would think that gold wouldn't be appropriate anymore after they used it in such a crazy way. But in the same gold, they used to make a tabernacle. In the same sense, we're flawed people. We go crazy sometimes for the wrong things. And God says, use that passion. Don't turn that passion off. Use it for the right things. Make me a home in your heart, in your lives. And that is how we wing Mashiach. So this Shabbat is Yud Shvat, and it's a day to reflect on the mission of our generation, our personal mission, our global mission, to bring Mashiach, to finally get across the home stretch, and to remind ourselves to not be afraid, to not give up, to not think it's been so long, and Mashiach is still not here, and Mashiach is never coming. We're closer than ever before. And as the Rebbe talked about, that at the final end of exile, the final stretches, God gives all the blessings, all the energy, everything we need to just get across. And all we need to do is to commit with greater intensity and greater enthusiasm to bringing Moshiach. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you at the next episode.